If you've reached this point in your life and ever caught yourself thinking, this can't be how aging is supposed to feel, you're not imagining it. Because almost everything you've been told about getting older is wrong. And the hardest part to accept? The people who were supposed to prepare you for this, parents, teachers, society itself, either didn't know the truth or passed along stories they never questioned. You probably spent decades believing the same things most people do. That aging means slowing down. That joy shrinks with time. That you trade vitality for responsibility and freedom for security. You followed the rules. You worked hard. You built a life that looked successful from the outside. And yet, somewhere along the way, something didn't add up. You may not remember the exact moment it shifted, but you felt it. A quiet unease. A sense that time was moving faster than you expected. That life had slipped into routine before you had a chance to really live it. For many people, that realization comes suddenly. A health scare, a hospital room, a moment where the noise stops and all you're left with is the truth, and you realize you've been living on autopilot, checking boxes, meeting expectations, doing what was required without asking what actually mattered to you. And in that stillness, one question becomes impossible to ignore. If everything stopped today, would this life feel complete? Not impressive, not respectable, complete. That question has a way of cutting through every excuse, because deep down, you already know the lie that keeps you stuck. I have time. I'll get to it later. When things calm down, then I'll live. You've heard it from others. You've said it yourself. People in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all convinced that fulfillment is waiting just around the corner. When I earn more, then I'll relax. When I get promoted, then I'll slow down. When the kids are grown, then I'll focus on myself. When I retire, then I'll finally do what I love. Here's the truth. Most people don't learn until it's almost too late. That day never arrives. Because the goalposts move, every achievement becomes the starting line for the next one. Every milestone creates a new expectation. And before you realize it, decades pass while you're busy chasing a version of success that never quite satisfies. You climb the ladder faithfully, only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. And time doesn't let you start over. This is something no one explains when you're young. Success, by itself, is a terrible goal. Not because achievement is bad, but because it's hollow when it's disconnected from meaning. You reach the milestone. You feel incredible for a day or two. Then the feeling fades. So you set another goal, and another, and another. And it becomes a cycle, a hamster wheel of validation that never truly fills you. Many people don't realize this until they attend a funeral that shakes them. A friend who worked non-stop. A business built at the cost of relationships. A life defined by productivity instead of presence. And when the eulogies are spoken, what's remembered isn't the resume. It's what was missing. A son who says, "My father was successful, but I barely knew him." That sentence lingers, and it forces a difficult reflection. What will people say about the way you lived, not what you earned? Because your deepest regrets won't be about the mistakes you made. They'll be about the moments you postponed, the trips you talked yourself out of, the conversations you avoided, the relationships you assumed would always be there, the love you felt but didn't express, the risks you avoided because fear felt safer than regret. It's easy to believe you have unlimited time with the people you love, but you don't. One day, someone will be gone, and you'll realize how many small chances you let slip by. A phone call you meant to make, a Sunday dinner you skipped because you were tired, a relationship you thought you'd fix when things slowed down. Sometimes they never do. And that understanding changes everything. When you're forced to slow down, whether by circumstance or choice, clarity begins to surface. You start asking different questions, not what should I achieve next, but what actually matters. And the answer is surprisingly simple. Time with people you love, work that feels meaningful to you, not impressive to others, experiences instead of possessions, memories instead of milestones, presence instead of pressure. It sounds obvious, and yet most people ignore it because responsibility is loud, bills are real, life feels urgent. But here's the quiet truth behind many of the best senior health tips you'll ever hear. Protecting your health isn't just about diet or exercise, it's about how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention. Stress compounds, neglect accumulates, and living out of alignment eventually shows up in the body. So here's a question worth sitting with, not answering quickly, but honestly. If your life ended tomorrow, would you be at peace with how you've lived so far? Not with how it looks, not with what others think, but with what you know. If the answer feels uncomfortable, that discomfort isn't shame, it's information. It's your inner wisdom asking you to course correct while you still can. Because every morning you wake up, time has already moved forward. You may not feel it yet, but the clock doesn't pause. The people you love are aging too. Parents, friends, partners. None of these relationships are guaranteed to last forever. So the real question becomes, what are you willing to stop postponing? That phone call, that trip, that conversation, that version of life you keep saving for later. Later isn't promised. And strangely enough, accepting that doesn't make life smaller. It makes it richer. When you truly understand that time is limited, something remarkable happens. You stop wasting it. You stop waiting for permission. You stop chasing approval from people who don't live your life. You start choosing intentionally. You say no to obligations that drain you, and yes to experiences that nourish you. You prioritize your health, not out of fear, but out of respect for the body that's carried you this far in your life. You move more, you rest better, you nourish yourself differently, not because you're trying to stay young, but because you want to stay alive in the fullest sense. And here's another question worth asking yourself. What would change if you treated your time like something precious instead of unlimited? Most people already know the answer. They just haven't acted on it yet. The irony is this. The moment you stop assuming you have forever, you finally start living. You create the right time instead of waiting for it. You discover that joy doesn't require perfection, only presence. And when you look back years from now, it won't be the busy seasons you cherish. It will be the moments you chose intentionally. You still have that choice. Right now and today, you can keep living the way you've been living. Postponing happiness, chasing external success, telling yourself you'll make time someday. Or you can wake up and recognize that the life you're waiting to live doesn't begin later. It begins now. You don't need permission. You don't need ideal circumstances. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to start. Because the perfect time never arrives, but meaningful moments do when you choose them. And when you reach the later chapters of your life, you don't want to look back wishing you'd made different choices. You want to look back knowing you lived intentionally, that you loved fully, that you showed up, that you didn't waste the gift of time. Every day is another chance to care for the body that's carried you this far. Keep learning, keep moving, keep believing in your own strength, because aging isn't slowing down, it's leveling up. If today's message resonated, take a moment to subscribe, leave a thought in the comments, or share this video with someone who could use a little encouragement. Because together, we're proving that aging well isn't the exception, it's the standard.